You know, under other circumstances, we would have the leisure to discuss Comrade Caleb's report, the second anniversary of OWS. Very important occasion. And also to talk more in depth about what we helped bring about a few days ago on August 28th. This wonderful demonstration throughout Harlem and the Bronx against the racist war on youth of color. But we can't do that as much as we want to because events force the party to focus on the world's struggle against imperialism. Yeah. And I want to, and it's the reason why I took the podium, I want to forcefully and passionately endorse Comrade Sarah's appeal to all of us to do what we can at this critical time. In many ways, I mean, we'll have to see how this unfolds over the coming days and weeks. That said, in many ways, I think that this period, before whatever happens, the congressional vote, whether indeed there is an attack on Syria, is just as significant in its own way, different ways, but similar, as the period before the attack on Iraq 10 years ago. The stakes for U.S. imperialism seem as significant today as they were then. There are a lot of strings and strains and pieces that are very important to this, and no one should try to simplify that. But one of those things is true, and that's this. Obama was elected on the basis of stopping the war. See? And his appeal, and he believed it, and some of those behind him believed it, that they could mend, heal, whatever, U.S. imperialism's reputation after a catastrophic period where the whole world was reminded, on top of the corpses of hundreds of thousands of Arab people, what the nature of U.S. imperialism was. He thought he could mend that. Well, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to be the chief operating officer of imperialism and the commanding officer of the terrible Pentagon war machine, you're going to have to kill people, and you're going to have to bomb people to do what the Pentagon does, and that is defend the imperialist empire and terrorize all who would dare to challenge it. And even after Libya, surprisingly, there are some in the bourgeoisie who have been whispering in Obama's ear, they don't think you're tough enough. We're losing the Middle East. It's been a disaster. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Even your bulldog in Israel is concerned about Iran, about Hezbollah, etc., and the DPRK, and so on and so forth. And all of your little cronies all around the Middle East, all around the world, really, but especially in the Middle East. They're wondering, is this the waning day of U.S. imperialism? It is economically, but is it also in other ways? Are you afraid? Can you no longer defend your empire? And they got inside Obama's head and his advisors. And so now he's on this sad, tragic exercise to launch this war that no one's for. See, this is what has happened. It's both a sign of Obama's political tragedy, but it's also a sign of U.S. imperialism's trouble and its contradictions. See, I want to say this about the AFL-CIO convention. You know, as soon as we got wind of the fact that Obama was scheduled to be there on Monday, September 9th, we talked with our comrades in Los Angeles, and we advised them to call a demo, get the permits, whatever, you know. We had to do this. And in spite of their history, which most of us know with certain people, they contacted ANSWER and said, of course, we're all coming out on Saturday, as Sarah said, but we got to be there when Obama speaks to appeal to the delegates so that Obama does not use, of all things, the podium of a labor conference to promote war. We got to be there. And they got in touch with all the other groups, and they formed a coalition to have a demonstration on Monday. 24 hours or 36 hours or whatever after they're planning a demonstration tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know whether that had anything to do with Obama canceling his appearance. Indeed, this is someone who has a lot of problems, because it seems that internationally and domestically, he's losing support by the second. So it very well may be his fear that he's not going to get the congressional vote that compelled him to cancel it and prepare a speech for Tuesday night. I wonder if it was, though, some of the fear that he could not escape the pressure even on the floor of the AFL-CIO convention. See? And if that's true, well, we should give our comrades credits where credit's due, because we mobilized. We saw it and we mobilized. And we overlook history and differences and whatever to create circumstances that would manifest strong anti-war, anti-imperialist unity. Now, a couple of days ago, is Comrade Shahid still here? Oh, good, great. It was at the follow-up meeting after August 28th. He said something to me. We talked about Syria a little bit, and he said, Larry, you need to write a statement to the labor leaders. You're the first secretary of the Workers' World Party, and I write a letter or something, or a statement encouraging them to come out against the war. And I said to Comrade Shahid, they're not going to listen to me. As a matter of fact, if the statement came from the party, I'm not even sure whether a lot of progressive forces would support it, because maybe they wouldn't think they had enough cover. But I thought a lot about it. And I sat down and I penned a letter from me. And actually, I think it's going to be published tonight on the Workers' World website. And there's two important points in the letter. You'll read it. It's nothing magnificent or spectacular. Most of you could have done a better job. But there are two important points to raise right now. One is this. Nobody at that convention, and perhaps nobody in this room, 2 weeks ago thought that the main issue that we would be talking about is another war. We have so many other issues. The fast food workers are rising up. Walmart workers are rising up. The question of raising the minimum wage, $15, jobs, all of these things. All of a sudden, war. And the question is, what do we do? Do we pretend that, what's gripped the attention of the world, both classes, by the way, is just a side issue, and all the things that we're organizing around, they're more important? This would be a big mistake, comrades. This would be a big mistake. And it's important to say that, because sometimes we have lots of plans and we've invested so much. We had all sorts of things we wanted to say at the AFL-CIO convention about, organizing low-wage workers but now, what's more important than talking about this? And so the message is, even though this wasn't on your agenda in that convention, I doubt if it was. Well, you better make it number one. You better make it the number one issue. What is the position of organized labor's leadership on plans to make war against Syria and the Arab people again? It's the number one issue before anything else, because people want to know. And the second point, there are a number of points in the letter, but the second most cogent, important point is this. If labor organized labor does not come out militantly, strongly, unequivocally against this war on Syria, what will it do amongst other bad things? It will give credence to an obnoxious, ridiculous lie that it is the racist Tea Party spokespeople for Wall Street that are the real anti-war, the Rand Pauls and the Ron Pauls, you know, who in certain parts of this country are very popular and who are making hay on their supposed anti-war sentiment. They're not against the war. They're against Obama because of who he is, amongst other things. And if the labor leadership abdicates on this, if they're silent on this, it will only help them. And that would be very bad news for a revolutionary, anti-racist, anti-imperialist, working class project. And we should take that advice to heart. If people like us are not center stage in this struggle, not just against war, but against imperialist war, then the less we do, the more powerful the racist demagogues are. It's a real political struggle. It's only one of the political struggles that are being played out, but it's an important one. Comrades should take it to heart.